The Blues Brothers, starring Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi, are coming to San Antonio on Friday, August 5th for one night only.
What do you want for nothing? Arrababisquita.
This historic concert event celebrates their 40th anniversary tour. All concert seats go on sale Saturday, April 30th at 10 a.m.
Hey! Come on now!
Don't miss your chance to see this dynamic show, The Blues Brothers, presented by PMX Events.
I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week in Recruiting.
Yeah.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Director of Recruiting here on Texas Football Today. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. See his fine work at texasfootball.com/recruiting. It's a little different. You know.
Yeah, somewhat different.
Yeah, but there's big things ahead. Big things ahead for us in the recruiting realm at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. So we're thrilled to have you aboard. And, of course, so there are many things changing, but I'll tell you one thing that's not changing. This Week in Recruiting is brought to you by our good chicken friends.
Delicious.
At Chicken Express. Chicken Express. I can smell it from the road whenever I'm driving by.
That is a good point.
It's on.
Yeah, I didn't know where he was going with that, but it ended.
It's on the way to the
pretty
grocery
good
store.
fashion.
Okay.
Like there's one between my house and the grocery store we go to, and I'll tell you, there are times when it is very troubling to drive by there, like on your way to get groceries.
Why not just always stop? That way you're not hungry in the grocery store.
I know.
It's worth the spin. It's worth the spin, so you spend less while you're there.
That's
Have
gonna
you
be
seen the price of eggs? I mean,
That's going to be a hard sell for like my wife is like, I'm going to drive by. Like I'm going to pick up like 3 things at the store, and I come back with those 3 things and also a box of chicken. And my wife's going to be like, did you get Chicken Express
It's like,
again? It's like,
no,
yeah, I did.
no, honey, this was the smart decision.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry for being financially
Yeah.
aware.
Sorry for caring about this family, you know?
I do have a pledge on my first day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I pledge
Oh, yes.
to always put on for Chicken Express. It's my goal.
When you invest in Chicken Express,
Yeah.
you invest in yourself.
It's my goal to see, to make this Chicken Express thing more, not just for This Week in Recruiting. Chicken Express, you need to be the sponsor of all recruiting content.
Let's make it happen, guys.
Let's do it.
God knows we all feel strongly enough about Chicken Express. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our Director of Recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise is Jasper's soon-to-be senior linebacker Tyanthony Smith, who was recently elevated on TexasFootball.com/recruiting to a DCTF 4-star prospect. I know they are awfully excited about him down there in Southeast Texas at Jasper, and he was a guy that you saw at the Next Level Athlete Texas Top 100 Showcase in Houston, winning the linebacker MVP, going away, and you liked what you saw?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, actually. Tyanthony Smith was the first player who registered for the event.
Oh, he was excited.
wow.
That's how hungry that
Yeah.
he was to come out and compete. And when he registered, he had double-digit offers already. So you like to see those big-time guys get into the camp early, but then you worry about them the whole time. Are they going to be able to make it? They've gotten 5 more offers since then. How's this going to play out? Well, Tyanthony Smith showed up and dominated.
Yeah.
He was probably, as far as I can tell, he may have been the easiest MVP selection of the positional groups that I can remember. He was head and shoulders above the competition and an easy upgrade to a DCTF 4-star. His tape was already good, but what I got a chance to see in person was that he could cover in space, which is a very important aspect in today's college game, and that he is good in coverage.
Yeah.
And he kind of recapped after the event that schools are looking at him as mostly inside specific, so an inside linebacker, and having a guy on the inside that could do those things is pretty important. So Tyanthony Smith, he's a dude.
Yeah, we are. I'm very bullish on Jasper as a whole. Kendrick Cremedy is a guy that we're very high on down there as the head coach there. And with a guy like Ty Anthony Smith kind of anchoring that defense, they're going to be pretty good. And oh, yeah, by the way, I think whenever he gets to the next level, he's going to be pretty good as well. So Ty Anthony Smith, the latest 4-star prospect in the DCTF Hot 100 there on TexasFootball.com/recruiting. He's already got 18 offers. So that list is sure to swell.
More are coming.
I would bet so. Let's get to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, I lied last week when I said we were done talking about
You did.
almost done talking about 2023. We've got another one. 2023, Duncanville cornerback Lamadrick Spencer has committed this week to SMU, a late grab for the Ponies. There in the Duncanville cornerback, he takes heads to SMU. Big win for Rhett Lashley over places like Arkansas, like Kansas, like Georgia Tech, Arizona. We've got him as a 3-star, DCTF 3-star, the number 20 cornerback in the state. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you are the director of recruiting and I'm not. This is an example of a guy who in a lot of other classes would be like a 4-star guy.
He's a very highly rated guy. I mean, that Duncanville defensive backfield was pretty special because you had Deldrick Madison, you had one of our top-rated youngsters in the class of 2025, Tyron Man Polly, who has a tremendous nickname, by the way. And then Spencer is a guy that you could rely on out on the boundary to lock top receivers up in one-on-one coverage. He's a very aggressive-minded cornerback. He loves to press the action. He loves to get downhill in a hurry. He's a tackler. He's a hitter. And he has the hip flexibility that makes him good in coverage deep down the field, but I really like to see him when he's attacking the ball. That's what I like best about him. And has a lot of experience not only locking down top competition as they play in one of the top districts in the state. He has a lot of experience locking down competition within his own team, is that they've had a number of top receivers as well, including DeCorian Moore on this year's squad, who is the number 1 rated wide receiver in the class of 2025. So anytime you're able to go down to Duncanville and pull in a guy with this type of experience and credibility, that's a good get. So congratulations to Rhett Lashley and the Mustangs for pulling in a late one here with Lamadrick Spencer.
Yeah, this feels like a really nice late grab for them to bring in Lamadrick Spencer,
especially in their backyard.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's big.
This is you want to talk about closing strong. This is a guy who kind of fits right into some of the guys they've already gotten. And again, you talk about kind of when Sonny Dykes was at SMU, they really made it a point to lock down DFW. When Rhett Lashley took over, he said straight up, he's like, nah, we ain't changing that. Like, we're still going to lock down DFW. And sure enough, you look up and down what they've been able to do. Guys like Trip Reardon at Frisco Wakeland. Guys like Kevin Allen at Everman. Abdul Muhammad there at South Oak Cliff. Randy Reese at South Oak Cliff. Keldrick Luster from McKinney. They have locked in on DFW, and this is another example of just like, we ain't paying for airfare. You know what I mean? Just drive wherever you need to get your talent.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of talent here in the DFW for sure, and they've done a really good job of taking advantage of that. And I think it's also become like a pretty premier destination for guys in the transfer portal, right? So you had like Jalen Davis Robinson coming from LSU back home to play for SMU. That was a pretty big get, because anytime you were getting a guy that was committed to LSU or playing for LSU, that's a big addition. But, outside the DFW, I thought that they did a pretty good job this year, too. A guy that jumps to the forefront of my mind is Damian Wimberly, Austin Vandegrift, good defensive lineman that we saw in the state championship game, big-bodied defensive end. I think he's a strong-side defensive end at the next level, could grow into a defensive tackle. And I guess this is outside of the DFW, but Jamarion Carroll from Wichita Falls Hershey. Keep an eye on that, and remember that name if you're an SMU fan. A lot of good players in this class, but Jamarion Carroll is a guy who I think has a chance to do special things there at SMU.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Let's roll on to our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week is Lake Belton, soon to be senior I guess probably the last week he can be classified as an underclassman.
I don't know how to approach that.
Yeah.
Like we still have a
it's
couple
not
more weeks,
yet.
right? Like
Yeah.
a couple more weeks.
We're in that kind of weird in between. Lake Belton, of course, has a 5-star prospect on their roster in Micah Hudson. They've got another guy in their cornerback, Selman Bridges, who is starting to catch fire. And as a junior was spectacular for them, hauling in 46 tackles, 2 interceptions. He picked up offers this week from Washington, Oklahoma, Texas, Penn State, Cal, Texas A&M, and Miami. All right, have yourself a week, Selman Bridges.
Yeah, no doubt. And this guy blew me away when I watched him play. I watched him, actually got to call the game on Texan Live when they played Red Oak. Mm-hmm. They were able to come from behind in that game to pick up a victory in overtime. And Selman Bridges was a big reason why. He made a game-saving tackle that I think a lot of people might have overlooked in that game, where he didn't give up on a play and showed his true – I think he's like a 4'4"-ish type of guy at 6'3", 6'4", 170, 175. That's saying something because when he gets the top speed, he's able to really get it going, and he chased a play down from behind to make what I would categorize in retrospect as a game-saving or a game-winning type of tackle. He's not a liability in coverage with his length. He really plays low, has great flexibility, can get low and hang with receivers, which is probably like a concern, right, when you're talking about a guy this big. Mm-hmm. Can he do it? Well, there's been guys that have been able to roadmap the success for these bigger framed or bigger bodied corners, and he can definitely do or share some of those same admirable qualities that those guys have. Big time prospect. A lot of reason why college coaches are going to be going through Lake Belton in the next year. They're not only going to see Micah Hudson, as you mentioned, he's a 5-star, but Selman Bridges is probably a soon to be 4-star at DCTF.
Yeah, he's a guy to keep an eye on. That I think if you're only focusing on one player there on that Broncos roster, you are missing the forest for the trees. They're loaded not just at wide receiver, but pretty much everywhere. It's one of the reasons we're pretty excited there at Lake Belton. Let's round it all out with our recruit of the week. Our recruit of the week is Frisco Emerson quarterback Michael Hawkins. Michael Hawkins, the former Allen quarterback, has transferred to Frisco Emerson, and the transfer doesn't appear to have impacted his performance all that much. He was the quarterback MVP at the Next Level Athlete Texas Top 100 Showcase in Houston, which means... Is that back-to-back years?
Back-to-back years.
Wow.
I think it's the
Okay.
first time ever that a quarterback's won back-to-back
wow.
MVP honors at the NLA event, which has been going on since 2005, by the way, so it's been around for a while. And there's been some pretty big-time QBs that have rolled through the doors, most notably Jalen Hurts. And I bring that name up because I think Jalen Hurts is the quarterback that Mike Hawkins most reminds me of. I don't think that he is quite the downhill runner.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't lower his shoulder quite like Jalen Hurts does. But
he was like more of a tank, where I would say that Hawkins is more of a strategic runner.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
Just two different styles of running. Why I can make the comparison to Hurts is I see similarities in their calm and cool demeanor and pocket presence, how they went through the camp, how they operated through the camp, how they operated in game action. There are a lot of similarities there that I like to compare Hawkins to Hurts for. And as a matter of fact, my friend over at Next Level Athlete, Ryan Weiss, who coaches the quarterbacks there from day one, and I had this very conversation on the ride back from Houston, from the ride back from Dallas, comparing Hurts and Hawkins. And he liked the comparison as well, as he had a chance to coach both of those players in the camp. So Hawkins, DCTF 4-star already rated as one of the top players in the state, has offers from a wealth of programs, but he is closing in on a decision, and he will make the call on January 31st. And schools I like to kind of put in the mix for that are Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alabama, TCU. He's got a top 8. I can't remember all 8 of them, but those are the 4 that I like off the top of my head have the best chance of landing him.
Yeah, he is. He's a star, most certainly, and is going to be. Frisco Emerson, of course, one of the new programs there in Frisco ISD, getting a transfer there from Allen quarterback Mike Hawkins, who is certainly a star in his own right. And so keep an eye on him. And here at the end of the month, we will be hearing where he's going to be committing. So very exciting there. Always exciting is our director of recruiting, Greg Powers. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. But stick around because I am lost without you.
I'll be here.
Thank you. Yeah, you work here now.
Yeah, I'll be here every day.
I was going to say, yeah, that's right. Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.